Hi there, my name is Chelsea. I live in Delaware, the most unknown place, I think, in the United States, unless you live up north. Um, we're in the middle of January, and it's cold and miserable, and nobody's happy because there's always snow on the ground. I'm 18, been living up here for almost 10 years. I moved up here from Texas. I know I might not look like it, but I did. I know that you people probably don't care. I don't care if this gets looked at or anything like that. I just really needed a place to talk because I feel like nobody cares anymore. Like, I know there are those people out there that always feel like there's nobody there for them, that nobody really cares about anything that you do, whether you're dead or alive. Trust me, I get it. It's a horrible feeling. For the past 5.5 months, almost 6, I've been dating this guy who lives in Tampa, Florida. I know what you're saying. You're like, oh my god, you're crazy. You probably just set yourself up for heartache. Like, trust me, I know. I don't need you to tell me that. But I was going through a breakup with my ex, who lives up here, and he was a year younger than me, but he was completely immature, and he broke my heart so many times, and it just got to the point where I just couldn't take it, and I left him. And with this guy, he was there for me. He helped me through it. He didn't even know me, he didn't even care about my past. He just wanted to help me. And then a few weeks after that, my dog died. He was my best friend. His name was Zeus. I had him for exactly 10 years. He died on the exact weekend that we got him. I mean, I did see it coming. He was getting sick. He couldn't hold food down. He was weak. But it's nothing to come home from work to. Everybody's just standing outside. And I just pull up in my car, and I'm happy because my manager told me to go home early, even though I shouldn't have been told to go home, but I got to. I was so tired because I worked a double. And I was happy to be home and see my parents because I missed them, actually. And I open up the door, and my dad's standing there in front of the door. And he goes, "Chelsea, Zeus passed away." That was the worst news I think I could have ever heard. I told him to tell me before he died. Like, if he knew that his time was coming, to please tell me. Because I want to be there for him. I want to stand next to him before he died. He was my dog, and I wanted to be there for him, and I wasn't. But this guy, he was there for me the whole time. I cried all night. And he stuck by me. We both had work the next day. He had to get up at 6 a.m., but except he stayed up all night with me. days after that, I told him that I loved him. Probably the stupidest thing I could have done, but I did love him. Nobody else was really there for me when I lost him. And a few weeks after that, school started. I'm a college student. And I was driving home from school one day, and I was so tired and miserable and angry at the world. And I just wanted to go home. And a cop was harassing me on the road, and I didn't even know it was a cop, and he pulled me over. I was bawling my eyes out because he gave me more tickets than I think I should have gotten. And after getting chewed out by my parents on the phone, I texted him just briefly telling him that I got pulled over. And he called me. And he stayed on the phone with me until I got home. I have a car that has a Bluetooth in it, so he was just on speaker. He didn't say anything, he wasn't talking, he wasn't doing anything, he was just listening. And he stayed on the phone with me until I got home. Then he hung up and he FaceTimed me. And he sat there with me, listening to me ramble about how much I hated my life and how much I hated that cop. And how much my dad was going to kill me. What you don't know prior to this is that I've had 2 accidents before this, before I got pulled over. This is my 3rd car. My first car I totaled, and the second one I sold to get the one I have now. But I had an accident in that other car. My dad told me that if I got in another accident, he'd drop me from his insurance. And I was scared because I can't afford insurance for a car. I can't afford to go to college with it. Hell, I can barely afford buying all my books right now and tuition and working car payments. I wasn't going to be able to afford it. This guy stayed by me the entire time. I left him on FaceTime whenever my dad came in to my room to talk to me whenever he got home. I just muted him so that way he couldn't hear me. And after my dad left, I started talking to him again. He was there for me for so much. And all that happened within 2 months of our relationship. But we started dating in late August. And the week before Thanksgiving, I flew down to Florida to be with him for a week. And it was amazing. I got to see him. And I got to continue to be with him for a whole week. With no interruptions from anything else. But then once I flew back, everything just got harder, because I wanted to be with him. It's like you get used to the kisses, you get used to the hugs, the talking every day, and cuddling at night, watching movies together. You just get used to it. And I didn't like not having it. And he would get mad at me whenever I would just say, come cuddle with me. And he couldn't. But we only had to wait a month because he came up here the 28th of December. And he stayed until the 4th of January. That was a lot of fun. He's never had a New Year's kiss because all of his other girlfriends were always gone. I always broke up with him before them. So I felt honored to actually be able to have that opportunity. But as you can tell, it hasn't been that long since he left. And just last night, he broke up with me. Because he said that he couldn't make me happy. But yet he still wants to be friends with me, and I'm just sitting here just going, how am I supposed to do that? We've been through so much already. I don't know what to do. I think all of this really started a few days before he came down. Well, I guess came up here. He told me that he doesn't think that he ever really loved me. He thought that he was forcing himself to do it. Because I said it. Even though I told him that if he doesn't love me, it's okay. You don't have to tell me. I wanted to tell him because he was there for me. He was considered my best friend at that time because he was always there. He would always be so happy whenever we FaceTimed. And now it's just like, hey, while he's playing Call of Duty. And then he'd be sitting there just talking to his friends, and if I'd try to talk, he'd ignore me. So I'd hang up, and then he wouldn't text me. But whenever he did, he'd be like, hey, I told you not to call. I told you what I was doing. Told you I wouldn't talk. Like, aren't I more important than Call of Duty? And I mean, his friends like me. They love me. They wouldn't have minded him talking to me. I just have so many questions going through my mind right now. And it's so hard because I want to be with him, because I really do love him. It's just that he changed throughout the relationship. He was so loving, he was so neat. Like, I love being needed. And he needed me. And I really loved that. Then after like the first month and a half, it just stopped. Then he told me that it's because he gets lazy in relationships whenever he gets comfortable. So after 2 months of being together, we started fighting a lot. It wasn't okay. I just don't know what to do anymore. Thank you for listening if you did actually watch this. I don't know who would watch this, but thank you. I would appreciate your feedback or whatever, like you think that I should do.